Hey everybody, this is Bill with I Ride RV Adventures. How are y'all doing this beautiful Monday afternoon? Well, at least it's a beautiful Monday afternoon here in Northwest Arkansas. And we're supposed to have a couple more days of decent weather, and then the rain starts up again. Had quite a bit of rain over the weekend, especially on Saturday. A lot of flooding here and there. But as far as I know, there were no accidents because of it or anything like that. Nothing to report. Well, we do have to report as far as the work on the trailer is going. Is again, we've made some changes in what we're doing, and a lot of this is because of recommendations and comments from some of our followers. I showed last time how we went ahead and insulated the walls, and that we were planning on going ahead and putting the paneling back up on the walls. Well, we've changed that a little bit, mainly because of what some of our followers have commented about and suggested. So let me show you what's going on inside the trailer. Of course, we added some more time as far as how long it's going to take to complete the project, because we decided to go ahead and add an extra layer of insulation on the walls. So what we'll end up with when it's all said and done, we'll have an inch and 3/4 of insulation on the walls, and an inch and 3/4 insulation on the ceiling when it's all said and done. We spent most all day yesterday, Sunday, putting up these furring strips here, and we still got the top row to go right along there, and I still got some funky angles I've got to cut down there in the corner where the slant nose drops down. I figured out what the angles need to be. I've got my angles established, so it'll just be a matter of going ahead and getting that cut in right. So like I say, we still got the top row to do all around the top. And then a couple of extra things that I've got to take into consideration. I'm going to have overhead cabinets basically running the full length of the trailer on both sides. So what I've got to also do, not only do I need to run the top row of a furring strip there, I've also got to come down a little ways and put an extra strip somewhere in here that will give some meat to screw into when we mount the overhead cabinets. So we'll have something to screw the base of the cabinets in here. And of course, I've got to figure out how far the cabinets, or determine how far the cabinets are going to come out here on top, and add an extra strip there to accommodate that will be underneath the paneling. So those are things I've got to figure out as well. I'll have to add a little bit more on the backing plates here, in order to make them come out with the thickness of the furring strips here, because I don't want to run screws through the insulation into the backing plates when I'm running screws mounting things like the brackets that's going to hold the television and the electrical panel over here. I want to be sure that when I'm screwing through the paneling, that I'm screwing right into plywood behind that, instead of running the screws also through 3/4 inches of insulation. So those are little things that I'm considering and figuring out how exactly I want to do that. Now around the doors, you'll see where I left the furring strips back away from the doors. What I plan on doing there to finish that off is I'm going to face out all around the door with 1x6s as furring strips, and that will also give me something to shoot into when I go to finish the doors off with a nice household style trim that will go around the doors. And I'm also working on some ideas how to do something similar to that around the windows as well. So that's what we're working on right now, are these things. We probably added a couple more weeks on the build, at least, maybe even more than that, because I'm not able to work on it every day. I help my wife with her business, and even though I work part-time, it still takes out a good chunk of the middle of the day, which is the best times of the day this time of the year to be working on the trailer. But all the time when I'm out there supposedly working for her, I'm thinking more and more and more about what I need to do on the trailer. So that's when I do my designing in my head, if you will, is while I'm doing that. I do want to point out something here. I had a couple of comments after I hung the initial insulation, and some folks came in and said that if my insulation had a foil backing on it, I hung it backwards. Well, this insulation has a film, and you can see it flapping there. That is one side. Now let's flip it over. Looky there. The same film is on the other side. This is what this insulation has. So as far as hanging it one way or the other, as far as this insulation goes, it's got the same film on both sides. This particular one has no foil backing on it. The Lowe's and Home Depot both carry foam board insulation that does have foil backing, but this is the one that I chose. And it has no foil backing, but it does have a film that coats both sides rather than just one side. So the issue with putting up the insulation wrong is kind of moot now because of that discovery. We're still excited about everything. We have to think about a whole lot more now. Of course, you know what'll happen here. Then when we get everything all finished facing out around the doors, and I figure out how I'm going to face out around the windows, and when I go ahead and run my top row of furring strip, and then figure where the other strip needs to go to have meat to screw the bottom of the cabinets in, and then figure where I need to put one up here on top to have meat to screw the top of the cabinet in. As soon as we get those strips done, then we will start laying up the third or the second layer of insulation on the walls. And that will help us end up with a total of 1 3/4 inch of insulation. Now, the way that I mounted these furring strips, I used those screws that I talked about before. They are a self-tapping sheet metal screw made by a company called Tex, T-E-K-S. They are awesome screws. You have to push a little hard to get them to cut through the steel, but once they cut through the steel with that tip on them and those threads grab, they really suck down quick, and you've got to be ready so as not to keep on cranking it and pull the screws all the way through. You do have to be careful. In addition to that, everywhere there's a stud, there's a bead, and you can see it oozing up there. There is a bead of Gorilla Glue construction adhesive behind that on every single stud. So when you have the combination of the screws plus this bead of Gorilla Glue on the back, there's no way that these boards are going to come down. If anything, it has probably made the structural integrity of the trailer even better than it was before. Once we get all this done and we get the insulation up, we decided to go with new plywood rather than the old plywood that came out. We're going to go with a little bit better quality plywood that'll have a smooth finish on it, so that it will take paint should we decide to paint. My wife even has wallpaper in mind for certain areas. We're also considering peel and stick subway tile in front of the cabinets that will be, or above the cabinets, I should say, on the backsplash where they're going to go here in the galley area. And then, of course, above the bar over here on the other side. So several little things that all of a sudden we've had to think about some more. Part of this is y'all's fault. Yeah, part of it's your fault because you suggested these things, and then I got to thinking, well, hey, that probably would be a good idea to go ahead and do that. So this is where we're at. We've managed to work it out where I don't have to do that part-time job tomorrow for my wife's company. I've managed to figure out a way to keep from doing that tomorrow, but you know what she's going to have me doing? What are you going to have me doing, dear?
Working on this trailer.
Yeah,
that's the deadline.
Her deadline and my deadline are two different things. My deadline is realistic. Hers is emotional. That's as far as I'm going to go there. If I talk anymore, I get in trouble. I'm probably already in trouble now. What do y'all think? Probably so. Anyway, this is where we are right now. We're going to do some more work on the trailer tomorrow. And, if I get enough done, I'll make another video and show you what else I was able to do. I will show you one little quick thing, how we got these things spaced out. We took some scrap pieces of insulation here, as you see right here. We determined what kind of spacing we needed after we put the bottom row in. And the bottom row we did out of a 1x6. All the other rows are 1x4s. But after we determined the spacing we needed from the top of the 1x6 and then in between each 1x4 in order to arrive where we wanted to on top, we cut 2 of these to length. And it came out, in our case, 15.5 inches, I believe. Then all we had to do was set them on top of the furring strip below, and then we have a screw that we push through, and we simply just push the screw through into the insulation that's already there. That held these in place good enough to just simply lay the next furring strip on and screw it on and glue it on, and then so on and so forth. Just walked right up the wall. And it made it a whole lot simpler and a whole lot faster to do it that way. It really went together really good. So if you look into doing something like this, I highly recommend that you look at those screws that I'm telling you about. They're available at Lowe's and Home Depot, and they're made by a company called Tex, T-E-K-S, and they're a self-tapping sheet metal screw, and the ones that we got, I believe, were 1 7/16 inches long. So that allows us about a 1/4 inch or so clearance to the back of the stud by the time we screw them into the 3/4 inch thick furring strips here. So that's where we're at right now. We'll get some more stuff up later. I hope everybody's having a good week. Here it is, Monday. But you know what? Before you know it, it's going to be the weekend again. I do have a gig. I've got to go play a music gig. I got to go play next Saturday morning. And I don't know if I have enough time to work on it Saturday afternoon, but Sunday's looking pretty good. I'll have enough time probably to go get some more materials. Is that right, dear?
Saturday is material day.
Saturday is material day.
Yes.
Yeah. Where we pick up materials. And I make a list what we're going to accomplish, and she makes a list of what we're going to accomplish. And my list is realistic. Hers is emotional again. But we always buy materials based on what she thinks, because we all know who the boss is. Is that right?
That is correct.
That's just what I thought. Just what I thought. Anyway, y'all have a good day. I'm going to sign off for now. We'll be talking to you again here in a few days. Y'all take care. This is Bill and Deb with I Ride RV Adventures. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.